Hey you, I'm Dallas Ann, creator of the Violet Pie, and you're listening to Knitting Myself Together. This season we're talking about knitting in public, and I wanted to talk today about social media and this revelation I had last week about how knitting in public has become part of my social media experience and what that looks like for community building. Also, I wanted to remind you that there's this place called Patreon. I'm over there at patreon.com/thevioletpie. You can support me and my art as being my patron through that website, and that will help me continue to create things for you. Whether that's patterns or blog content, social media content, or this podcast, your support financially really helps me propel this all and keep it moving forward. However, I completely understand everybody has their belts tightened right now with budgets. And hearing from you on social media, that encouragement means the world to me. If you wanted to comment on, again, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, the blog, Facebook, send me an email. That would be amazing. So just a couple days ago, I published a blog post called #What's in Your Notions Bag. I talked about what I carry with me wherever I go for knitting, and I reached out and wanted to know what you use. Do you use Notions at all? Do you have a standard bag, or do you just sort of have a happenstance of whatever happens to be laying around, you grab and go? Well, I heard back from people. I can't even begin to describe how awesome it was. Lee over on Twitter said that her Notion bag always contains a ruler/needle gauge, yarn needle, scissors, and stitch markers. And now, get this, all of that just goes directly into her pockets because she must exclusively buy things that have pockets because I can't find things that have pockets big enough for my Notions. That's amazing. Or in a small zip bag. Elise over on Facebook shared that she has 2 Notion bags. One is for her big project bag, one is for the small project bag. They mirror each other with the exception that only one gets the good scissors. And in there she has what seems to be the standard scissors, darning needle, stitch markers. However, she has a crochet hook, measuring tape, and a row counter. Do you use a row counter? I've never used one that makes sense for me and fits into the rhythm of my knitting. So if you have one that you use and want to link me to that, I would love to check it out and see if this is a tool that might actually work for me or if it's just not something that will work in my repertoire. And then over on Instagram, Bethany shared a picture of her Notions bag, which is actually this amazing metal box that she picked up at a garage sale years ago. And it is stuffed to the brim with the most charming collection of Notions. I just love it. I'm going to make sure that copies of these pictures are on the show notes page so you can enjoy those as well. If you happen to want to get on the bandwagon and share what's in your Notions bag, please share those on the social media platforms, #What's in Your Notions Bag. Tag me in it. Or if you're one of those folks who don't utilize social media, that's okay. I've got some of you in my life. Drop it to me in email. I promise I will respond to you. And it would be great to hear from you on whatever platform. Excuse me. I use social media to connect with you. I know this is no surprise. I am here talking about it all the time. I'm talking to you right now via a social media platform for podcasting. And I use social media to build community. I use it to find encouragement or to reach out and encourage others. I share my projects and my experiences and my knitting adventures with you on social media. And it has very rapidly, I've discovered, become a daily expression of knitting in public. While I may not be physically outside at a park or sitting at a bus stop or in a restaurant knitting, I am still sharing my knitting with the public through social media. And I love it. Love it so much. I found that it encourages me to keep on going when I get stuck on projects. I can reach out and say, oh my gosh, I cannot even frog this one more time. Can you give me some encouragement? And without fail, somebody chimes in, gets me going, and I can move on. I try and do the same, reflect it back to other people, and I just love the sense that we're kind of all in this together, whether it's life or knitting or something in between. And this has been really highlighted for the past 3 or 4 weeks because I've been working on designing a fingering weight sweater to submit to a major publication. I'm really excited, at least I was, about this project when I first started. I felt like it has a really unique construction concept, and the story behind it is super great, and the colors are to die for, because I reached out to one of my favorite independent yarn color artist dye people, and I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. I pitched them my idea and the publication I was going to submit it to, and I asked them if they would give me yarn support. And they did. These are my colors, like my life colors. And I just, it was a dream to work with. Well, the yarn is a dream to work with no matter what you're knitting. But this project, first half of it went flawlessly. Amazing. I was so excited. And then I got to the second half. And it wouldn't work. My huge ass swatch, I swear it was somewhere between 9 to 12 inches square. That swatch that I did not translate well at all to the actual physical garment. So I frogged it back, tried a second approach. That didn't work either, so I frogged it back, tried a third. That failed as well. Now, this has been happening over the course of 3 weeks, and this major publication, one of their significant stipulations is that you cannot put a single glimpse of this on any social media platform until they release the pattern. And here I am working away at this, and I'm discouraged and exhausted, and I need some feedback and some encouragement, and I can't reach out for that. I can to a couple people in my life that I explicitly trust who also knit. That's a really hard combination to come by. I have a lot of people in my life I explicitly trust, but not a lot of them knit. So I reach out to those 2 people in my life who meet that criteria, and they're doing the best they can to encourage, but there's something about just putting it out in social media and just knowing that I'm being heard by multiple people. It's just different, for me at least. And not being able to do that has seemed to suck the life and the very air and creativity and everything out of this project. And I'm just suffering and struggling through this, and I'm working on my 4th iteration of it, hoping that it works, because I've got to tell you, if I hadn't gotten yarn support for this, if I had just purchased the yarn myself, I would be done with it by now. I would put it in long-term hibernation and say, okay, maybe this design will work at another time. It's not working right now. But I have this commitment to this other small business to see this through. And so I'm trying again for a 4th time. If it doesn't work this 4th time, I am going to reach out to them, send them an email and say, hey, so vision and swatch did not translate to real life. Can I please buy this yarn from you? Can you please invoice me for the cost of yarn and shipping? I feel like that's the only ethical thing to do, breaks my heart. I really hope this 4th time actually works. But this entire experience has been a huge learning curve for me in how I approach design and creation. And I cannot design in a vacuum. I cannot design in an empty space. I need people to do this. And that should be no surprise to me. This is how I live. how I engage in life. I need people to go through life, and apparently that's the same for design. So because I can't share this with you, aside from my words, I can't actually show it to you, and I can't share it on social media. It leaves like this icky taste in my mouth, like I'm somehow being inauthentic. I know that sounds a little extreme. I probably don't mean it as heavily as it comes across, but that's just what I'm feeling right now. So, my goal is to finish this sweater this weekend. I'm going to push through today, push through tomorrow, push through Saturday and Sunday. I am going to get this sweater done, and then I'm going to block it, even if I think it still looks terrible, because sometimes that ish does block out. And we'll see what happens. Here's where I'm going to ask you a favor, a huge favor, actually. Can you check in with me over the next 4 days? Just sort of encourage me. Give me a shout out on social media, Facebook. I have a Ravelry group that's actually in like the baby stages of community. We're all talking and chatting, and it's great. You could pop in there and say, hey, how's it going? You could send me an email, whatever. If you know me in real life, drop me a text. I really need some encouragement. I need maybe a little bit of accountability. I need some TV suggestions. What Netflix can you suggest to me? So a project I can tell you about that I'm super excited to share with you is a project that I'm using as kind of like a carrot dangling out in front of me to finish this other project that I'm completing for submission for another publication. But this project is a smooshy, cozy, bottom-up worsted weight cardigan. Raglan sleeves, gonna have spectacular color work and faded multicolor sleeves. It's gonna be amazing, and not least of which it's going to be amazing because of the yarn support I got from Alice of Backyard Fiber Works. I flailed so hard you would not even believe, or maybe you would since you know me so well at this point. I flailed and squealed when that package showed up on my doorstep. The yarn, I laid it all out on my couch, and then I kind of laid my head down on it because words fail me. Words are actually failing me right now to explain to you just how spectacular this yarn is. I'm going to just have to put pictures of it in the show notes. Her worsted weight base is divine and exquisite. And, I am always a little concerned when I work with heavily variegated yarn. And I decided to step out of my comfort zone and use some of her variegated yarn as the main body for the sweater. And I suddenly have no fear at all. And I'm embracing the variegated colorway life. And I cannot wait to cast on. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be needing testers for this sweater. I'm going to be putting a call out in July. And I will remind you, don't worry. It's going to be incredible. Something I do actually need testers for right now is my DK weight shrug that I shared on social media last week. It's called Juxtaposition, and it's designed to bridge that gap, fill that space in your wardrobe that'll bring your summer clothes and transition everything more gracefully into the fall. That space where your summer wardrobe just isn't quite cutting it, but it's not cool enough to break out your beloved flannel. Yeah, this piece will really help with that. I need a few more testers. It would be awesome if you did that for me. And you can just head right on over to Ravelry in my forums over there. It's under the Violet Pie not knitting myself together. Since that's the podcast name, The Violet Pie is my knitting label. Just head on over there. Check it out. You'll see the requirements and the yardage, deadlines, expectations, hopes, dreams, fears. Well, maybe not that much, but you'll get all the details you need, and you can just check it out. Or even if you decide not to test knit, at least say hi. I would love to have a screen name and a picture to associate with you. It would be awesome. Another great thing that's happening in a couple weeks is I'm releasing my boardwalk sweater. One of my testers, Julie, just finished her boardwalk. When I saw it on Instagram yesterday, my jaw dropped. My jaw literally dropped because it is so gorgeous. I'm going to have a picture of her beautiful self in her beautiful sweater here in show notes because I can't even get over it. Julie herself, I know her outside of the knitting world. She herself is a huge inspiration to me and encouragement, and I kind of look to her style sometimes when I'm feeling a little meh about my own stuff. I kind of like flip through her selfies and pull inspiration from what she puts together. Well, she did not disappoint with her color choices for her boardwalk sweater. It is spectacular. That pattern will be releasing in a little under 2 weeks. I'm planning on getting final pictures for the pattern taken this weekend, and then my family and I are going out of town next weekend, and when we come back, my yay we're back present to all of you will be my pattern, and it is going to be amazing. So again, pictures in show notes. Please check it out. Julie is spectacular. So summer is rapidly approaching, and I'm going to be prepping for season 2 very shortly. And what that means is that I will be active on, probably more so than I am now, on all the social media platforms, in Ravelry, on the blog. But because I'll be prepping for season 2, there won't be any new podcast releases until season 2 is ready to go. So I'm trying to figure out how you and I can continue to stay connected. There's a lot to be said for social media, like I've been talking about this whole time. There's a lot of community, and we really connect through the pictures that are shared and comments, email. But there seems to be something about the vocal medium that really triggers a sense of relationship. And I've been racking my brain. How can that continue during the summer while I'm prepping for season 2? Well, something that came to mind that I wanted to ask you about was giving a virtual knitting group a try. Like, if I picked a preset time and said, I'm creating a Google Hangout, here's the link to sign in, come hang out with me. Bring your knitting project or whatever you're working on, grocery lists, I don't care. Come hang out with me. Let's chat. Let's say, hey, how's it going? Just 30 minutes. You can 30-minute window, and you can come and go as your schedule allows. That seems like a fun thing to try. Does that interest you? I would love to try it. I guess I'm a little nervous of just sort of putting myself out there without knowing that anybody's actually going to show up. I don't know. It sounds really fun to me. But if it doesn't to you, let me know. If it does sound great to you, let me know that too. And I will try and get that figured out this summer so we can maintain and propel our friendship and our community building forward further. Or, if the Google Hangout doesn't appeal to you, but you have other ideas, definitely let me know, because I prefer a multi-prong approach. especially when it comes to things I love, like community building. Until next time, you keep that yarn moving.